Good morning, traders. On this very pleasant Wednesday, looks like we already got one mover this morning, already a penny stock. Be glad when we get out of the penny stock weeks. Good morning, Dennis, Bill, Bob, Tamimi, Kenneth, Naveen, Mr. Rodriguez, Yolanda, MB, and everyone. Good morning, Anna, who loves lunatic, Dana. Hope we have a better day today than yesterday. Need more than one pre-market pick. Good morning, JC. So if it's your first time here, we're going to be watching this momentum column. Be watching the numbers as they grow. They'll get up, make their way up here to the top to tell us the ones that are moving the most. We'll also be watching this volume spike column. We like to see this volume spike pop in beside them as they're rising. And about 6:30, I'll do a walkthrough, introduce myself. So let's get through the morning open for pre-market. Good morning, Jody and Bottle Rocket. About 1 minute to go. Just kind of hoping to see something moving before open. So nothing really promising as of the moment. About 20 seconds to go. Good luck to everyone. Just watch this column right here, this row. Something's going to move. It's going to pop right up here. It may start lower and work its way up. Make sure you are on EXT for TIF. And here we go. We have a 84-cent stock, TPST. We're making its way to the top. Only moving a couple pennies at a time. A big green candle looks impressive, but it's really only a nickel or so. Not my kind of play. Give me something with dollars or at least quarters or 10 cents. not pennies. Good morning, Dan. Maybe somebody will put some news out and we'll get a worthy stock here soon, hopefully in the next couple minutes. Yeah, those when that market opens, there's pending orders. That's what you probably see in this stock here. What we really need is somebody to put out some good news, and it'll pop up right here. Here is SLS hitting the bottom of the numbers. It's only moving pennies as well. And I'm looking over here, 162 to 164 to 166. There's not enough money in there to throw my wallet at anyways. I'd like to see about 10 cents between those numbers. TPST trying to make a little bit more move. Still only 2 pennies between the numbers. So don't let candle size trick you into wasting your money. But if they're going to move, they're definitely going to be right here. You'll know them every time. They come to you. You don't go searching for them. TUP. It's moving a penny at a time. 2 pennies between the numbers. Nothing impressive. You can see TPST is pulling back by this red bearish signal. Now pulling up for a little more. This could end up giving about 10 cents, but I don't play these cheaper stocks. You're more than welcome to take a shot at them if you want. I don't like them because they can go up 2 pennies and drop a dime on the next candle. Has nice volume. We're watching this volume right here. If you're new here, this is our pre-market riser scan. You won't find these indicators anywhere but on our channel, on our Discord. I'm a coder. I build all this stuff to make life easier for investors. TPST, good penny stock play for you penny stock pickers. Looks like TUP is moving now. That one has a nickel between each number. That would be some money if it'll go. Has lack of good volume. You can see it's just barely creeping. This candle is bullish and bearish. That's weakness. The overall volume is sellers. You have to watch everything on the screen or you could lose money. This TPST is still going. I'm going to say that's probably a pullback for the next nickel or dime run up. The stock is holding its price at this level. But it could fail just like any other stock. I don't know how worthy penny stocks are on pullbacks. I don't play them, so don't trust my language on them. But it looks like it was a pullback for the next run up. Sky, I'm looking at the numbers over here on the side where you see my mouse moving, like 85 cents and then 90 cents. We know it's got to move this far to at least make a nickel. Sometimes this distance between these two numbers is only a penny. I've seen it as high as $1. So you watch over here, make sure you have enough money in there between these two numbers to make it worth your investment. So as it's climbing, you're not just gaining pennies, you're gaining dimes or quarters or whatever. These numbers do change. They never stay the same. So that was a penny stock pullback. Not very strong. All these top wicks are sellers. Keep that in mind. As if the candle is green and it starts shrinking and it gets a wick on top, that is profit takers. They're driving the price back down. We want to see wicks on the bottom, not on the top. Sometimes you'll get them as it's rising because people are taking profits along the way. But when we're in horizontal mode here and you see all of these tall wicks, that's a warning. I would be out. Up is still not doing anything. Good morning, Robert. Dana, do you have extended hours checked? If you have it in your watch list, right click on the name, edit formula. Make sure this box is checked right here and make sure you're on 3 minute. Looks like we're already calming down. It's not the pre-market I wanted with one cheaper stock. Might not be over. Hopefully it's not. Maybe one will pop in here in a few minutes. You're welcome, Dana. And you just click on the name to sort them. Like if I click on it, they're going to scatter. Just keep clicking on it till they come to the top. And every stock that's moving down below here will jump up here once they start moving. PRST was a good penny stock gainer this morning. And it's still going. So we were first aware of this stock. I think it popped in a little high right in this area around 95 cents or so. So it was a 20-cent gain for a dollar stock. That's pretty good. Still has buyers coming in. Don't know how much further it's going to run. Stock is up 379%. So it must have started before our market open. So how high do you go after you're at 400%? That's the question. And I have seen them at 1,000. Through my years, I've seen some stuff you wouldn't believe. Hard to spot those. That's kind of like you got in and got lucky. So I guess we're back to that one statement I make every morning. Do we just buy the first one that pops up? And do we buy it as soon as it pops up? I think the winning side of it is way higher than the losing side. It may be worth the risk. Could always jump in small, add to it as it's rising. But what I'm seeing is each morning when one of them takes off, if I don't get in, I lose money. I don't know if you see it the same way, but that's what I see. Was a nice little run for a cheaper stock. Hopefully some of you bought into it. Good morning, Alex. You know, when I look at this Momo script that I released last weekend, this is one of the shortest codes I've ever written. It's starting to make me think I'm overthinking these things. Market's kind of tricky. Like you can put too much into a script. The next time you look at it, it's working fine. The next time, it's not so good. What brought this script on, made me program it, was I was sitting here thinking, well, if we can't catch them right when they take off, what do I need to program to watch them as they're building up before they take off? That's how I came up with looking back 30 minutes and watching volume. Because before they take off, they're just gradually coming in. They weren't coming in fast enough to trigger this volume spike. So by doing it on a time basis, 30 minutes, I actually think I nailed it. Like you can see these stocks, they're gradually coming in, but they're not spiking. So it allows you to click down the line and see what's happening before it happens. Thank you, MB. Good morning, Greg. Raphael, do you have these indicators loaded, this Momo and this V-Spike? Good morning, Casey. Are you sorted by Momo? Like you click on the name until the numbers come to the top? And let me see what my pre-market is at. I think I've done this every day. You really don't have to match mine. I've said that 1,000 times. As long as you're scanning the range you want to trade, and that would be the range you can afford to buy. You don't have to be exactly like me. But my mark is at 25 cents and no maximum, 10,000 shares of volume, and after hours percent, the close is greater than 2%. Extended hours, 1 minute. So if you're just like this, the only reason you would not be the same as mine is because your scan is refreshing later than mine, or mine's refreshing later than yours. Other than that, if that's not the solution, I don't have an answer. Well, I don't have any trickery. I gave all my secrets away. I really don't understand why not. I'm not doing anything any different than what I ask of you. So do you have the rest of the stocks like TUP and INO and Vino and well, I'm trying to put everybody in front of the money. All you need to do is decide on clicking the mouse or not. And your volume is down at 10,000. I think that's what mine was. Yeah, mine is at minimum of 10,000, no maximum. Or maybe TD Ameritrade is wanting to show it to some of us, but not all of us. I always think there's that little glitch in there. Don't know if it's on purpose or not. There's mornings where y'all are calling out stocks and I don't have them. Pheno's starting to move. Let's see if it clicks its way up to the top of the chart, the watch list. Looks like the buyers are barely trickling in. So if it's your first time here, I am Ricky Gaspard. I'm a guy who trades from his home office. I've been trading since 1990. I'm also a ThinkScript coder, and I write my own codes and my own scripts. And I decided a few months ago to give them away to help out a bunch of investors. We have some very experienced investors on board, some new beginners, and this has even helped the best of the traders. Even if you're experienced, sometimes you lose a lot of money, you get lost, you have to revisit what you learned, start over. These scripts have helped lift them back out, get them motivated again. This is our latest release. It was released last weekend. It's called the Momentum Watch. And it's watching for any movement that a stock starts making throughout the morning and the day. And even in after hours, it's been tracking some good stocks. This volume spike indicator lets us know when the volume starts moving. So if we get a number over here and these bullish signals jump beside it, they're probably starting to move up or down. So once we see one over here spiking, we take a look over at on the chart, and I've also created this pullback strategy. So we're spiking here. We confirm that we have a crossover of the two moving averages, which is the 5 and the 13. And they are EMA, not simple. I've also programmed these arrows to come in whenever the volume is spiking in each candle. So we look for a crossover. We watch that the volume is really kicking in. The buyers are coming in, and it's evident by the numbers rising rapidly. That's usually a safe indication to get in. We want these moving averages to pointing as far north as possible. As the stock is rising, we want to see separation come in between the lines. The wider this separation, the stronger the run up. You can see as the moving average was rounding over and coming closer to this blue line, which is the 13, the stock started getting weak. However, it didn't cross the blue line. It turned back north again and made another run up. So we like to play them by watching. We don't chase candles if we can help it. If it's going to run up, it's going to pull back eventually. And I like playing this pullback area where it takes off again. Usually this second run is more profitable than the first run. That's why I don't mind waiting on it. So to get this set up, you have to join our Discord. And hopefully you visited our YouTube channel and watched my previous videos, because all of this ties in together as I started releasing these indicators and improved them along up to today. They've become pretty powerful. So watch the videos on YouTube, subscribe to YouTube, comment on the videos, like the videos. Let YouTube know what kind of a job I'm doing. It also lets me know what kind of a job I'm doing. In the description of each video, you'll see a link to our Discord where there's over 1,400 investors. A lot of them are sharing their knowledge. We have It's Me Bob. He's teaching the basics of options, and you can go more advanced with him if you prefer. He does a real good job helping people to understand options, what to look for. We also have the trading floor with Gregster and River Place Dad doing their due diligence on stock picks. So they're posting stock picks whenever they're available throughout the day. I suggest you give them a visit as well. And if you want this setup, visit Current Setup. It's going to be the most updated versions. In Current Setup, you'll find 4 files that you need to import. If you can't figure out how to import them, visit the how-to videos section and watch the videos on how to install scripts. Kind of broke it down to each one, like how to install this label, how to install V4. V4 is going to come with all of these labels all in one install, all of the lines, all of the arrows. So it's one install for everything you see up here, one install for here, and one install for each one of these columns in your watch list. Make sure you notice which one you're installing. These are chart indicators. These are watch list indicators. So you're not going to install these by going to Edit Studies. You actually need to click this little gear icon once you import it and click Custom and look for it over here in this column and move it over. Then you can move it up to the location where you want it to be. So if you get into Discord and you can't see any channels, make sure you accept the disclaimer and the channels will pop in. And I appreciate everybody joining us this morning. Let's see if we can make a little bit of money. Let me post a link to our Discord since you're already here. If you want to join the Discord, there's the link for you. So back to drinking coffee and waiting for money to come. I mean stocks. No, I mean money. You are welcome, Robert. I enjoy doing these live streams. It keeps my mind fresh. Helps all of you to understand what's going on. Keeps me motivated, keeps me learning. I still learn. I learn all the time. It never stops. Never stop studying. I don't care how many years you have trading. PHIO. This one must have took off while I was talking. This is why, if you've been here numerous times, you should be watching your charts. When I get to talking, I don't want to distract you. You may lose $500 and miss it like I did. So if you know what's going on, concentrate on making money. You can't have enough of it. Good morning, Blue. You know, I don't really understand sometimes. You know, I'm a Christian guy. Sometimes I'll think about these scripts and don't know where to start. I'll know what I want, but I won't know how to program it. You'd be surprised how much a little prayer helps. It's kind of like, no, that's wrong. Do this, but it's only a thought. It's got to be coming from higher up, is what I say. I guess that's where I surprise myself comes in sometimes. Like, how did I do that? Good morning, Peor. Am I saying your name correctly? Is it Peor? Pedro, I try not to make it past 9:30 a.m. I hate sitting here during the day. If I can make all my money in pre-market and shut my mouth and make some trades, I don't have any issues with not trading all day long. Here lately, though, I've been more focused on scripting, doing very little trading, doing a lot of watching and verifying that what I write is working. I'm pretty much done with indicators. I believe this is all we're going to need for a while. Of course, I say that all the time. But I think this is probably the cream of the crop, as they say. I think I'm going to start just focusing on trading for a few weeks, catch up for the days I didn't trade. And I know I can catch up, and I know I left some behind. That's fine. Well, nice to meet you, Peter. Thank you for joining us this morning. Amen, Dennis. The divine has spoken. I think this all happened at the right time. A lot of people were struggling, losing their job, work slowing down. Even some of the best investors, their profits were way down. And I'm going to admit mine were way down as well. Until I sat here one day and said, "You're a coder. Do something." And I started thinking outside of the box. I almost got away from ThinkorSwim. I didn't think I could function on live data with this platform. And then all of a sudden, volume snapped in my brain. You know, volume never quits. Even if the scan's refreshing, volume never stops. And they can't stop it or we couldn't trade. So I focused on volume and all of these indicators were born. Just from that one thought, I was able to expand on it and move forward. I got stuck for quite a few months. Was trying to overthink it. But it eventually happened. If you knew me personally, I'm the guy that never gives up. I don't accept losing. I don't like defeat. I'm not a perfectionist. I just don't like defeat. It's okay to break even. Just don't be defeated. Good morning, Back Road. Yeah, we already played TPST. Well, we didn't play it. We watched it. Some of us might have played it. It was the first thing on the list this morning. Good morning, Steve 66. So if you're new to this indicator all day long, you should be starting like at the bottom and clicking up the ladder. And maybe your possibilities of getting in before that eruption of or that blast moving up. You can gradually see the volume starting to build in each one of these. It's all about buyers and sellers and volume, James. That's the whole thing. It's buyers and sellers and volume. If you go long, you want a lot of volume and you want to find the buyers and join them. And the opposite for shorting, high volume, join the sellers. So I think going long, last night I did a simple scan, actually created it to find all the stocks hitting the low of day. not necessarily the low of their life or the low of the month, but the low of the day. So the stock can still be trending up, come down a little and hit a low of day and trend up some more. So I created a scan to find low of day because I like going long. When they're at a low of the day, they usually turn around and recover at least some possibility to catch some of those dips. So when I first started out, if I saw a stock like this and it came back down, I would sit here all day, not having any knowledge, hoping that I could wait for this stock to turn around and watch it go back up. And that's not true. You could sit here all day and it'll stay in the same level. I had no guidance. This is back in probably 1989. No guidance. We didn't have all these fancy indicators. We didn't have none of this stuff. So you really had to know what candles did. There wasn't really an explanation on wicks. There was no videos to go watch. So I've come a long way. I've lost a lot of money. I've made a lot of money. But every trader's going to pay for his education, whether he buys a course or he learns by losing. And I learned by losing. I learned not to lose. Never focus on winning, just learn not to lose and you'll be good. Well, enjoy your coffee in this quiet moment. The stress should be minimal. Let your computer do the work. All we do is wait. I've taken a lot of work out of it. Used to study for hours and hours on end the night before, hoping that the night before stocks did something tomorrow. That's a crazy way to trade. Now they come to us. And you know, I have to give ThinkorSwim credit for making their programming language quite simple. It's hard at first, but if you dig into it, you'll figure it out. I think the hardest part is the psychological control. Keeping anxiety at a minimum. Get rid of your fear. If you have fear, you shouldn't even be trading. Fear means you're missing something. It's not complete. You have no confidence. And you definitely have to be a risk taker. MTNB, I don't know why that just popped up. Maybe it was down lower and I wasn't watching. Another really cheap stock, 26 cents, may take off here. And if you notice how easy that was, the numbers just popped in and it jumped to the top. Now, will it go anywhere? I don't know. I can't predict that part. Yeah, mine starts at 25 cents to no maximum. Maybe it started below that threshold. If it were up to me, I'd have it at $5 to 50. But to help everybody, I have it down low like that. Of course, $5 to 50s, I wouldn't have any plays any day until market open. But in a bull market, that's a different story. So as soon as it popped in up here, if you would have clicked the mouse, you would have been in this area here. That's when it popped up for us. You could have caught this run up. So I'm really concentrating on that. Do you just click the mouse as soon as it pops up? Every one of them has gone up for 5 days. Every one. Looks like this one's going to take over. Well, if I can catch it. BTTX. That's 60 cents. And it just popped in. So does it go up or does it fail? course, I don't know if I can trust a penny stock with that theory. They may be a bit too volatile. I think I'm more referencing when the pre-market first opens. So these guys got in probably here somewhere, or they pumped it up. They all made a plan to pump it up to here, and then they're bailing and are taking profits. So the next run could run back up. Because now people are noticing it. And as the new people are noticing, they're taking profits before the next run up. Or maybe the pump didn't work and it just runs down from here. I've been burned too many times by penny stocks. That's why I don't play them. They're not for me. I keep feeling like I need to change my mind on that with these indicators. That kind of makes it very tempting. But I know I'm not good at them. Blue, I'm using the 5 and the 13. I'm not using the 8 and the 21. Since I'm scalping, I want a quicker reaction between these two moving averages. And I mainly play volume and buyers and sellers. I don't really worry about if it's breaking this or breaking that. If I can pull 10 or 20 cents out of it and I'm holding 3,000 shares, that's quite a bit of money for me. Or it's enough for that trading day. So I'm going to have to say I'll lean more towards price and volume and price action and spikes. I rely heavily on spikes. So I'm watching for activity here during the day. Well, of course, I'm not trading most of the time during the day. I quit at 9:30. Sometimes I may sit here till noon if I feel like I want to make a few dollars. But usually past 10:30, it's pretty dead. It's actually dead at 9 a.m. But occasionally I'll sit here. Occasionally I'll catch one. I'm really waiting on a better market, to be quite honest about it. To me, these are just teasers every morning. I want something I can get a firm grip on and watch it rise for half a day. TPST making a run. It's probably going to go back towards its high, or maybe this one here. Yeah, it's already tested that second level. I call this the backside of the run. Unless it can break this high, I'm really not interested in it. If it's got more in it, it's going to break this high, turn around, retest it, and then run up. Learn that lesson the hard way. Oh, it's going again, click, and it only goes to here and back down. So it has to break that high to get buyer interest back into it. Pedro, it's kind of hard to tell you how to trade. I don't know what you're looking at. I don't know how well you've studied these indicators. I'm not going to make that decision for you. So I really can't answer how long do you wait before purchasing. You've got to put all of this together, make sure everything lines up as I've been explaining, and take your chances just like I do. If it looks good, why not? Yeah, it's the backside of the run, back road. Unless it can break the high, it's not going very far. It's kind of like at market open. I like to wait for stocks to break the pre-market high. And remember I said that. So always mark your pre-market high, and at market open, if you have the patience to wait for those strong stocks to break that pre-market high, then come back down and retest it, they're going to be some strong runners. That pre-market high plays an important role after market open. I mean, you can catch bounces all day long, but do you want bounces or do you want runners? I want the runners. In order to run, they have to break that pre-market high. It's always good to see a stock break its high. A lot of them can't hold it, but to me, that's the best trigger for the next run up. There's other investors just like me, you may be one of them, that wait for that moment to happen as well. So a lot of people are watching for that. It works more than it fails. That's why I like it. Yeah, I'm not interested in this kind of stuff right here. To me, that's just the volatility between the next move down or up. This is not really a play. Some people call it a bounce after a big sell. If you're happy with just making that small gain, that's good. If you perfected that, then go for it. Me, I want to catch the next one of these above the high. Good morning, Jimmy. Just keep in mind when I make that statement, I'm not buying the moment that price breaks this barrier. I'm waiting on a retest of that barrier that it can't get back down below it. So if we can break through, come down, bounce off of it, and take off, that's my stock. It's all about patience. You have to wait for these things to occur, or you're going to waste a lot of money in the middle. In this market, they're rare. That's why I always say I can't wait for a bull market. But think about it, everything's down. We're trying to find things going up when everything's going down. We're doing a good job of it with these indicators, but there's very few. Yolanda, that is correct. I wait for it to break through, turn around, retest it, and then take off. Jimmy, I'm always on a 1 minute chart with this live data stuff that I've developed. I'm sure it works on 5 minutes, but to me, I like to know, I don't want to wait 5 minutes. You can lose money watching a 5 minute candle drop. Whereas a 1 minute is going to give you a little bit more information quicker. Kind of like trading a 15-minute chart. You get into it and you're a couple of $100 up on one candle, and that candle starts dropping, but you can't really see what's happening within that 15-minute candle. You end up holding too long before you get out and you lose half your profit. So I try to stick with 1 minute. I do occasionally go verify, look at a 15, look at a 5 minute, look at the tick chart. So when this takes off here, flip it over to a 5 minute, see if the 5 minute looks good. Check it out on a 15 minute. You can do that real quick if you have the time frame sitting right here. But it's mainly about breaking barriers. They break out, they pull back, they go up. You need to retest the highs, wait for the pullback, and shoot at it. The problem is this market, they don't happen often enough in this type of market. But if you're patient enough to wait on them, you'll be more profitable. Jimmy, I watched the retest on a 1 minute chart. This right here, I stay on the whole trading session, 1 minute with the V4 loaded, watching these spikes. I will play the runs whenever I'm focused. If it's in my price range, I'll play the runs going up. But I'm not interested in it again unless it breaks the high of that run. Alex, in V4 and in V6, if you hit your studies button and edit studies, this is the V4. If you hit that gear icon, you can change right here the EMAs to the 5 and the 13. These will never change, so don't let these confuse you. But the script is going to use whatever you tell it to use up here. So I'm on 5 and 13, but down here it says 8 and 21, but on the chart it's 5 and 13. For scalping, to me, this is the best moving averages you can use. It'll keep you in a little longer. There's a lot of times I wait for weakness on the 5 EMA before I even get out. These little things don't scare me as long as we have separation and they're moving up north. Let me rephrase that. If I'm into this stock with a bunch of shares, 3,000 or 4,000, then yes, I'm really focusing in this area, but not necessarily focusing to get out. But I have a close watch on it. Because a nickel loss at 3,000 shares is $150. So you have to really pay attention to what you're doing if you're trading large share size. My loss is greater than most because when you're in for that many amount of shares, you're not pulling out at $100 loss. You have to give yourself some room. Because the more shares you're holding, the greater that gain is and the greater that loss is, the more it moves. So at 100 shares, yeah, I may be worried about 30 or 40 bucks, but at 3,000 shares, I think my 500 loss is about where I'm at most of the time. But I rarely see that 500 loss because I'm waiting for this kind of movement before I throw that much money at it. So the more shares you trade, the different strategy you're going to apply. I don't encourage that for anybody. I've been doing it long enough to take my chances. But if you don't know what's going on, don't even attempt it. That's why you don't hear me trading a lot. I wait for that 1 or 2 during the week and then hit it hard. Some weeks I don't make any money. Some weeks I make up for the week I didn't make any money. Some weeks I break even just like everybody else. I am way ahead. I'm not in the red. But I'm very careful at what I do. because it doesn't have any activity. TPST, the activity disappeared, so it disappears off the chart. We only want to monitor movers. We don't care about the ones that aren't moving. That was the reason for these indicators. We want movers. I try to get in 2 or 3 trades a week, maybe 4. Markets hasn't allowed that lately. I mean, they have in penny stocks. If you notice, all week long, it's been nothing but penny stocks. I haven't seen a $10 stock move up $1 in weeks or months, unless all of a sudden good news came out. I'm missing the average movement of a stock without news. What happened to average true range, where a stock moves up and down $1 every day? It's pretty much disappeared. They're all flatlining. Thank you, Alex. I don't ever want to teach the way I trade. I want you to figure that out on your own. You know your risk. I don't know your risk. And I'll be honest with you, I've had $1,500 loss days. Why does that happen? I either got caught in a halt and it resumed lower, and I was holding on to a lot of shares, or I became Mr. Stupid and didn't follow my own rules. But I've also had $7,000 days and get that in 15 minutes. I haven't had them lately because the market's not in that kind of condition. So I'm just like everybody else, grabbing $300, $400, $500 whenever the chance is there. I'm upping my share size to try to make that amount higher. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Robert, I apply the 10% rule. So let's say at market open, a stock is $1. And this doesn't work all the time, and I haven't figured out why some stocks don't halt when they should and others do. But I always apply a 10% rule. If the stock opens at $1 and it makes its way up to $1.10, I try to be out before that 10%. So if it's a $3 stock, I'll give it 28 cents and be out. And I've seen days where I get into a $5 stock and it goes to $5.50, $5.70, $6 and never halt. Kind of think there's favoritism in the market. Well, let's let this one run for these people. And this is just theory. This is the kind of stuff that makes me mad, I guess you say. I think it should be equal all across the board, where we can actually apply something and it holds true every time. Robert, the halts are triggered by algorithms. So it's just going to depend on how they're set up. So these last couple of weeks, I haven't risked any high volume buys and sells or whatever. I've been focusing on scripting, like I said earlier. I do need to make a little money. This week hasn't allowed me to do that. It's been a penny stock week. JC, we're already on it. Robert, it all depends on what you're looking at. You can have some stocks that look better than others, and your decision to get out is going to be different on each one of them. There's no definite set of rules for everybody. It's always different for each trader. If I said follow me, you'd probably lose money. If you told me to follow you, I'd probably lose money, because we're not looking at the same thing. We're not thinking the same thoughts. We're not applying the same strategy. Build your secret weapon using what you see up here. Figure out what you have to do to be profitable. I'm putting moving stocks before you. You need to come up with a strategy when you want to get in and get out. You set your own levels of profit. You get in the stock and it's going up, and you keep telling yourself, I wonder if I should get out. Take that as a warning, get out, because you're already having doubts. See you later, Mr. Rodriguez. Thank you for joining us. Have a blessed day. Good job, Greg. It's kind of like the play of the day is always the first pre-market stock. I think Monday that one ran up 70 cents. That's a pretty good run. Yesterday, that one that tricked me, and the volume kept dying. I don't remember. I think it was 50 cents, 40 cents. If I'm not confident, I don't buy them. If they try to trick me, I don't buy them. To me, those are risk plays if I don't feel comfortable with the trade. Does it bother me I didn't get in? Well, it used to, and it kind of does, but it happens. No sense in stressing over it. There's always more. Good morning, Installer Pro. So I'm always watching the all stock scan, which is nothing but a price, 25 cents to whatever it wants to go. There's no volume or any settings in that scan whatsoever. It's just the price. So I bring it up every morning. I let this be my volume right here. So every morning we're watching the pre-market and the all stocks. You can see plug is here, but not up here. And then all of a sudden it'll jump from here to there. Robert, so do I. It's a different scan. This one has the pre-market hours thing checked. This one doesn't. I don't know why we have to have a special pre-market scan. Why don't they just turn it on? Why do we have to go select its pre-market? We shouldn't have to do that. We should be able to just list all the stocks and play. I guess they don't run all the servers on pre-market. These dead spots is what I don't like. I don't like waiting. I guess I'm impatient that way. And it applies to me no matter what I'm doing, not just trading. Got invited to a group motorcycle ride a few years ago. I've never had to experience so much waiting in my life. Well, wait, this guy's not here. Well, let's wait for this guy to catch up. That was my last group ride. Don't have the patience for it. Same thing with stocks. We shouldn't be sitting in these dead spots. That's how much this economy has affected the market. You can't tell me out of that many stocks, nothing's moving. Robert, I'll tell you that when it changes. Each administration is different. I think if we can get out of this administration, we're going to have the biggest rally we ever seen in market history. But that may be a while. It may be a battle just to change over. So we did break this high, this pre-market high. I think I marked it back here. I did. It's now holding that level, but we don't have the volume to support a rise. There's no V spike here. It's not listed up here. So it's very weak. So the retest of that level, if this 1 minute candle closes below, that level's broken. If it closes above, it did close below. I can verify that. It's just barely below. So this level still could be good. It was not a strong breakthrough, but chances are it's going to fail. And guess what? Every time we guess, we're usually wrong. That's the market. All of a sudden, a group of buyers could come in and say, all right, let's go. And there it goes. We judge it on normal activity, and that unknown group steps in, says we can get more out of this. You can't predict it. You have to play it as it happens. You're going to have to take it over to Discord support. I'm doing a trading session. I'm not doing support here. That's a little bit more than I can just answer in a few words. Go post it in support. If somebody's there, they'll help you out. Or when this session is over, I'll be glad to help you out. The Momo is on 3 minute and extended hours is checked. That's about all I can do here. So if you just right click on the name, edit, 3 minutes, this box is checked. But if we have to dig deeper, I can't do it here in this live session. VSME just popped up. I don't know where it's going to go. I was watching this time. That one's also popping up, which is MTNB. Very low volume. That's where your eyes go next. They go from this column to this label. So there's not a whole lot of buyer interest. So from here to here instantly is where you should be focusing. Watching that current bar. And of course, you want to notice if there's more buyers and bullish. But this is really important. If there's not enough volume there, you can get trapped. So if I was the guy that came in and bought 5,000 shares, I'd be the only player in this stock. That's how I look at it. If it's less than the amount of shares I'm going to buy, why do I want to get in? MTNB, a penny stock. Pretty good volume. That's what I'm looking, this first candle. We have separation. We have buyers. This candle is not bullish. Yeah, it is now. You see that label pop in. It is at the top of the list. Little bump there. So if you're new to trading, all this stuff I'm saying probably doesn't make any sense to you, and I understand that. This comes through time. You're not going to learn the stock market in a day or a week or a month, maybe not even in 6 months or a year. You're not going to learn all of this stuff. It comes to you over time. Like I have over 30 years of doing this. I know stuff that somebody that's been trading 20 years doesn't know, or he may know more than me. You have to experience it to learn it, apply it to learn it. You have to lose a little to learn it, gain a little to learn it. Trading's not a, hey, I'm going to be a trader and be profitable. It doesn't work that way. So don't ever rush into trading. It's not something you rush into. It's not something that's going to work for you just because you think it will. It will eat your lunch faster than you can think. You have to apply a proven strategy over and over again. If you have a strategy that's working for you, continue using it and perfect it to the best that you can. And you do that by keeping a journal. You write down your mistakes, your entry price, the time, every little note about that stock so that you can reference it later and see what you did right or wrong. And you do this forever. I don't do it anymore, but I should. But as a beginner, that should be step number one. Write things down. Sometimes I have to break the new subscribers' heart. If they tell me how do I create a watch list, I know immediately this guy he's just starting. Or how do I import a script? These are all keywords for me to let me know about the person that I'm talking with. How much do I need to start trading? That's the most popular question that I get. Well, how long you been trading? Oh, I'm just starting. But how much do I need? It's a very serious business. I look at trading as a business. It's a company. You're running a company. You're investing your company money into other companies. Have a business plan. You're playing it as a game or a lucky guess. You probably won't be here long. That's some tough love, but it's the truth. I have to tell you, you're in for a battle. I think the worst part is a lot of the younger folks, they play a lot of video games and they think this is just the next video game. That's not true at all. Well, I want to be just like you. Well, I'm 67. How old are you? I'm 21. Well, when you're 67, you'll be like me. I still look good, so I'm told by the elderly ladies. Now, ain't that funny? You know, you're getting old when it changes. Where you were opening doors for the other people, now they're opening doors for you. That should be a clue, especially when they're running to the door to open it for you. I've had a wonderful life. I give credit to the man upstairs. I've been a Christian since I was probably 7 or 8 years old, eating M&Ms with the other kids in the church. I don't go as often as I should anymore. That's because the churches have changed. I hear you, Steve. Or the grandkids calling you grandpa. Or pappy. That's what I'm known as is Pappy. Thank you, Greg. Yeah, that's what you think, Steve. They won't. They're going to pick that name. You're either Grandpa, Pappy. I don't look at anybody else's theories. I've been at it long enough not to change what I know works. It's all about perfecting. Keep that in mind. If you're still exploring other people's theories, you haven't settled in yet. You are correct, Dan. There's a lot of things you can't teach. You have to learn it on your own. There's things in my head I don't know how to explain to others. I think the one that hits me the hardest is you look at some of these YouTube traders, and they may be 20 years old, 18, and they're selling you their course. What the hell are they selling? Good morning, Butch. See you later, Steve66. Have a blessed one. Good morning, Wyatt. Good morning, Old Thumb. Yeah, I was just chatting away and TPST got away from me. That happens every time. Probably everybody that was talking with me in the chat missed it. Back to that focus word, right? You got to be focused. Good morning, Lewis. That's what I'm talking about, Greg. I think most of them are selling their mistakes. They don't do this like I did this. That's not a course. I only want $5,000 for you to learn to do what I didn't do right. I wished I could sell that. Yolanda, your guess is as good as mine. The play was actually probably back here somewhere. Let me zoom back out. I zoomed in on it earlier to focus on it. This was the play back here, right at market open. And we've made it all the way up to a high of 229. So can you tell me if it's got more in it? Who knows? Coming up on that 8 o'clock hour, this is where everything's going to calm down. I expect this to sell off. If you don't believe me, just watch. Before market open, the profit takers will take their profit and pull this stock back. If it's good and strong, it will take off and they'll pump it up, and then it'll drop at market open. Good job, Alfredo. So if you notice, my prediction went both ways. It went up and it went down. Does that tell you I don't know? That's what I get out of it. It's either going to sell off or it's either going to go up. So I'm right whichever way it goes. That tells you you can't predict it. So by common knowledge and watching everything sell off just before market open, that was one prediction. By knowing that everybody's aware that this stock is rising, they could drive it up. That's another prediction. Butch, these are watch lists. They're not charts. I guess you could call them a chart. I prefer this to be the chart, this to be the watch list. And they're different scans that we're monitoring within a watch list. I mean, this is an Excel spreadsheet, you could say, I guess. I prefer watch lists. I'm an old guy. That's what it's been called for me. But there's a scan working in the background here. And the watch list is showing the data from that scan. . These numbers are being displayed in candles and lines and arrows. So this one has a special code for pre-market. This one doesn't. And it's not really a code that I wrote. It's a code you have to apply that comes with ThinkorSwim. It's kind of awful to put news out at 8 o'clock. Why would you do that when you know everything's going to sell off before that market opens? Let's take a look at the SPY, see where the SPY is heading. Zoom out to a 15-minute chart so we can get a bigger picture. Let's zoom out a little bit more. See, before I zoomed in, you thought it was going up for today, didn't you? That's a big difference from that one to this one. There's yesterday's high. We're actually down. That is correct, Mike. In Discord and TOS scans, you'll find pre-market risers, which is this scan that's being displayed in the watch list. And this all stock scan is really not a scan. It's just, I created a scan and put a price in it and nothing else. It's just one line. I believe it's 25 cents to unlimited. So it only has 25 cents in one line. And then I'm letting these indicators be the volume. So pre-market gappers, pre-market risers, and all stocks. That's the two you see here. I have a lot of other scans there you may find useful. You'll just have to play with them and see how they perform. If they perform well, that you can make money off of them, then use them. There may be 20 or 30 scans in there. I don't really know. That is correct, Ford. These are all detached Market Watch tabs, every one of them. You can always tell they're Market Watch tabs because they have this little tab down here on the bottom. So I go to my Market Watch tab and I set up my watch list with the indicators I want. I detach it multiple times and put them in different areas of a monitor. I'm running 5 monitors, 5 27-inch monitors. This keeps me from having to move my head so much. So when market opens, I change up a little bit. Have other scans running. This scan actually turns off about 8:35, maybe 8:33, and nothing will show in it. That's when you should be relying on the all stock scan or the low float scan or what other scan may work for you. SINT. Let's go back to my 1 minute chart. That's what happens when you put news out just before 8 o'clock. Market open. We're just going to monitor the all stock scan. I'm going to just change it up here. So you only need to create that one market watch, watch list. And you can just change all of your scans right here. Whichever one you want to monitor, you can open in this watch list. That way you don't have to have 10 or 15 watch lists for each scan that you have. The ones that work for you the best, you can just detach them and move them to one different section where you can access them quickly. Me, I got tired of clicking everything, so I went with the multiple monitor setup, drug things where I wanted them, and now I just watch. A lot less clicking that way. So I'm going to take a 10-minute break here, and when I return, we'll set up for market open. I shall return. Okay, I have returned. Still have about 5 minutes before we change over. I want to see if something maybe gets pumped up before the market opens. Chris, to answer your question, I have the most expensive laptop Dell sells. And the most processing speed I could purchase through them, 32 gigs of RAM. It's actually a 17-inch laptop that I'm running, but it's running over to a hub. The hub also has a processor and video card. So I feed data into the hub off my laptop. All of my monitors plug into the hub so that the video is enhanced on each monitor. I found that was the best way to keep the wires cool. Tried to do it with adapters, and the adapters were getting warm. So if you're going to do multiple, I do highly suggest using a hub so you're not really straining the main PC or laptop. Just feed data into that hub and let the hub do the work. So I'm looking at my little sticker on my laptop. It's an i9. The hub is quite costly. It's the price. I think it was around $500 or $600 for just the hub. So that's the price of a small laptop. To tell you how important a hub is, I was running a 13-inch laptop with an i7 into the hub, and it was doing just fine. So the hub really makes a difference. All right, doesn't look like anything's going to happen before market open. I'm just going to go up here and click on my pre-market risers and go to all stocks. So I moved this one up here, basically. I'm going to sort by Momo. If you haven't done so, just keep clicking the name until the numbers come up. Down here, I just choose any various, I switch around, to be honest. Today we can use gap and run. That seems to be a good one. So what the gap and run scan is doing, it's going to find stocks that gap open higher than yesterday's close, and that they have a greater possibility of continuing that run. So instead of low float on this one, I'm going to run the close is greater than yesterday's high. So when that happens, you'll see stocks pop up here if the current price crosses above yesterday's high. And I added this scan to the list yesterday. It's down at the bottom on TOS scans. So if we have a down market, don't expect anything to happen in this scan. Let's take a look at the SPY before market opens. Let's see what direction we're headed. Look at a 15-minute chart. So we're kind of just hanging out in this area. I guess it's yet to be determined. So when market opens, I'm going to be watching these top 3 rows. I will not be buying the first green candles at market open. I will be waiting on pullbacks. I will mark the high of that first green candle. I will mark the low if it pulls back and monitor if it's going to return higher. I'll play the pullback strategy at market open. I will not be buying the first candles. Greg, we do not have to change to 1% anymore. We're mainly focusing on Momo. This can stay at 0.0. It doesn't matter anymore since we're monitoring over here, and this is more controlled. This is going to go not as volatile as this column is going to be. So you can just leave it on 0.0, never change it. Unless you just want to use only this volume spike. I'm sure some of you are going to have your preference. You're either going to like this one more or like this one more. I'm leaning heavy on this one. So this can stay at 0.0. TPST is already wanting to fly. That don't mean it's going to fly. Be careful of a halt. I would set that halt level at 24 cents if it opens around this area. And be out before 10% rise. And then if I tell you that, it won't halt and it'll keep going. So use your own judgment. Normally I apply 10%. You apply what you want, but be out before that 10% if you're afraid of a halt like I am. James, that's going to be a support question. I don't have time for it. The market opens right now. Take it over to Discord support. Make sure you changed your EXT today on your computer or your trade may not go through. See, this column is not as volatile as this one. So I'm watching these numbers for risers. This one's red. This is where that volume spike comes in handy. It's a 10, but it's red. It's pulling back. So as I'm watching this and determining which one I might purchase, I'm considering how many shares I want to buy at the same time. And I'll reach over and set that share amount before I even decide to buy. So if I get in quickly, all I got to do is hit the buy button. It's already preset. Save yourself one click if you can. TUP. The SPY. I need to look, I want to look at it on a different market here, a different monitor. SPY is up or trying to go up. So this is the high I'm going to mark. I'd like to see a stronger pullback here, somewhere down in this area. If not, it may just run right on up and break the high. If it does, I'm going to wait for a return to test it as support. Zoom in a little bit closer. So it's breaking through. This candle has to close above this line. And I'd like to see a pullback and test it as support. It did not close above that line. It did barely, but I may not be exactly on it. Tall candle wick on the top. Not my kind of trade. It's too cheap of a stock for me. I'm just kind of walking you through it to see if it happens. So we want it to go up, turn around, bounce off of this line before the next run up. That doesn't happen, you just saved yourself a loss. It could still run up. That's just the strategy I play. You'll just have to keep monitoring it. I'm going to move on. That one's way too cheap for me. We'll go back to TPST. It's still coming down. It's actually in a halt, I believe. It's not moving. That's why I said apply that 10%. This one's very undecided. Does not have any bullish spikes. This one's too cheap for me, but your lines would be here and here. So you would be looking for a break through this high and a bounce back down to it, and the next run up, you probably won't get it. HUBC, another cheap one, under my budget. I stick to my rules, as you can tell. Give me a $2 or $3 stock, I might think about it. A 47-cent one, I'm not interested. These ZROs have been moving all week, just bouncing for nickels and dimes. MTNB broke through. It's a cheaper stock. You may or may not get a pullback setup. I'm not interested in pennies. They're only moving from 33 to 34 to 32. Nothing I want to throw big shares at. All of the prices are down in the $2 range and 38 cents. We really need a better market. Starting to die out already at only 8.38. This penny stock still climbing a little. You're a penny stock player. You're going to have to use your strategy. I can't walk you through them. See no stocks over here where the close is broken through yesterday's high. SPY is pulling back. To me, this is not even worth looking at. If we're going to go from 34 to 32 to 34 cents, that doesn't make sense to me. Here's TUP trying to break through. PHIO. Lots of red coming in on the volume spike. SPY is pulling back. So TUP did break through. We need a turnaround. It did not break the high. So if it does turn around and bounce here at $1.93, it may only go to a 201 on its return. No money there for me. Coming back down to that 193. And the numbers I call out are not guaranteed. This one did hit the 193, but they're not guaranteed. They could pull back a little bit and take off. That's called the stock market. So now it'll probably bounce back up to here and get resisted again. Or it may run up and run through. You look over here now, we have a 34-cent stock, a 38-cent stock, a 39-cent stock, a 44-cent stock, and a couple of $2 and $1. Nothing with great value that I can expect a 50-cent run out of or $1, unless I got extremely lucky. So nothing I want to throw money at yet. This one's going to come back up to retest this 201. Robert, I tend to mostly play the bodies of the candles. I think these are just spikes above and right back down. But sometimes I'll play the wick. You can play either one, the top of the wick or the bottom of the wick or the top of the body or the bottom of the body. They both seem to work. I find that the body is a more accurate mark than the wick. And then other times I find the wick is a more accurate mark than the body. So take your pick. So just remember, this is not a valid breakthrough until this candle closes. If it closes above this line, then yes, it broke through. If it doesn't close and you only have a wick sticking above it, it's not a confirmed breakthrough. Was unable to hold that breakthrough. Soon the buyers will give up and this stock will probably drop. Quite volatile for such a little stock. Seeing lots of red on the board. These cheaper stocks. that are just pretty much bouncing. I'm going to click down the list here, see if I can find anything. So if they have a number, you need to check them. I don't even care if it's number 1, check them. They're in this list because they had activity within the past 30 minutes. That's a whole 4 cents from this point to this one. Or to make $1 million on that one. That one's floating to the right. That one's pulled back. The SPY is just floating to the right. It's channeling or squeezing or consolidating, whichever word you want to use. No problem, James. If you want to look at it later, I'll be available. It could be something simple. I'm having issues as well. When I uploaded that script, I know I've uploaded it twice with that box checked, and each time I upload it, it ends up unchecked. I don't know how that's happening. James, are you using the V-Spike version 2 since I corrected the issue with Schwab? We can talk now. There's nothing moving. Unless something happens to hit the top of the list and the volume spike kicks in. These cheaper stocks I'm not really interested in. SPY's not doing much of anything, still channeling to the right. We have some high numbers, but we have no volume behind them. PLTR is holding its price at this level. I'll go ahead and mark it out for you. So we're channeling between these two lines. The way you would play this is you would wait for a breakout. If you're going to go long, a breakout and a pullback and then a takeoff. If you're going to go short, you're going to wait for a breakthrough, a retest, and the way back down. You don't know how to draw these lines? Click on your drawing tab up here, select drawing tools, and it's this second one right here with the dollar sign. And I'm marking the highs and the low of the drops. Might get a breakthrough on the bottom here. Could pull back as far as right here. Might go back up and retest this as resistance before falling further. We have a crossover of the 5 below the 13. That's an indication it's going down. We have a couple of arrows. This is a setup for a possible short. I wouldn't short till it retests resistance here. And there's the retest. Let's take a look at gap and run. This is what these stocks kind of do. They open higher than yesterday's close and they slowly make their way up. They're usually low volume stocks. None of them have a number. Well, this one has 2.1, but no spike. They're slow crawlers, but they're pretty much, they are dependable. I have to say that. We do have one above yesterday's high. Very volatile stock. Not one I would prefer to join. It's also a cheaper stock. But it is higher than yesterday's high. Or was higher than yesterday's high. So most all of my scans are playing on price action and volume, not necessarily something crossing something, or because something did something yesterday, it may do it again today. I don't write scripts like that. I want to know what's happening now and what might happen in the future. That's the kind of scripting I like to do. I'm always focusing on that current candle and the volume. I don't care what happened yesterday. That's old news to me. So PLTR did test resistance and it is working its way down. The SPY is working its way down. So Wednesday's hump day. I guess we're on the downside of the hump. Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. You have a blessed one. So each day, this is the story you have to be able to tell to be successful. You have to know what's fixing to happen. As you see me calling out these support and resistance levels, calling out pullbacks, watch for pullbacks, watch for pullback on a resistance for a short. These are the kind of things you're going to have to learn. I don't know what this stock is going to do. I'm going by past experience of what I expect it to do. I'm not always correct. You won't always be correct. But the more you can learn and absorb, the closer to correct you will end up. We're never, ever right all the time. This is the stock market. Anything can happen. Things can change in a flash. But on typical movement patterns, you should be pretty close to being able to call these out and just writing that story about each stock. Well, it's going to go to here. I'll put a line here. I'm going to put a line here. It's going to bounce between them. I got to wait for it to break out above or below one of these levels before I'm even thinking about it. You need to be able to tell that story on every stock before you throw dollars at it. This is why I don't trade a lot. The story don't add up. SPY's down about 435.40. Now 435.23. PLTR's dropping right along with the SPY. So I'm pretty close. I said it could come back down to this level. It sure seems to be making its way there. SPY is continuing to fall. Option players playing the puts are probably doing pretty good right now that they're playing the SPY. Yeah, you could have shorted PLTR as well. It was an easy short. We watched it break through right here, retest and fall. Would have been an easy short. But from here to there, 20 cents maybe. I mean, 20 cents on a put, depending on how many contracts you have, could be some good profit. If it's your first time here, I'll be calling this stream an end at 9:30, maybe a few minutes before. The market is dead. It is going to the downside. PHIO is very volatile. We don't know where it wants to go. Cheaper stock at $1.94. TPST never did anything. That's the one we thought will maybe run at market open. It never ran. Well, it did, but it couldn't hold. You could have got 20 cents out of it if you hung on to that gap. But I think it also froze. It halted right at this candle. So this gap was probably created by that halt of buyers coming back in. Then it sold off rapidly. The SPY is trying to make a little bump upwards. See NVIDIA in the list now popping in. Google's now up here. American Airlines. These are the kind of stocks we need better quality stocks up here. Not necessarily this expensive, but give us some $10 range, $8, $15, $20, something we can play with. Apple's up here. Bank of America Corporation. AMC did break this last high. May come down for a retest here. That'll be testing this level. I haven't played AMC since they did all their investors wrong by creating another stock called APE and pulling investors out of AMC to play APE because the AMC investors were disappointed in the performance. So they kind of shafted their investors by creating another symbol and pulling those that agreed with them to it. There was a big lawsuit over it. I don't know if it ever settled out or not. But you don't do your investors dirty like that. James, that's kind of what I figured. Kind of like our government never does anything either. They're all in the same boat together. They get away with wrongdoing too easy. You are correct. So before I get out of here, let me do a quick walkthrough. I am Ricky Gaspard. I'm a guy who trades from his home office. I've been trading since 1990. I'm also a ThinkScript coder, and I write my own scripts. I'll always monitor volume and buyers and sellers. And that's what these two columns are doing. This one's letting you know if there's a volume spike up or down. This one's letting you know if there's gradually stock buyers coming in. I created these two indicators because I like watching live data, not past history. So as it's happening, I'm watching it right here, and then I monitor this pullback strategy I created. It consists of spike arrows and crossovers of the 5 and 13 EMA. When it's spiking here, you confirm the crossover of the two moving averages and that you have spike arrows coming in. We also monitor the volume, that there's enough volume there for me to get in and get out safely. We monitor this current candle, if it's bullish or bearish, and it'll pop up in a label here that says bullish or bearish. So to simply put it, once you're familiar with this, you see a spike, you quickly confirm volume. You confirm the crossover. Is it green up here? Is it green down here? And then you confirm if you want to get in or not. If you haven't joined our YouTube channel, I'll post a link down in the chat. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Everything is free. Help me get paid a little bit through YouTube by watching the commercials. View the videos, like the videos, comment on the videos to let YouTube know what I'm doing over here. It also lets me know if I'm doing a good job with these indicators and these instructions. If you haven't joined our Discord, we have 1,400 investors over in Discord. Some of them are sharing their information. We have It's Me Bob teaching his basics on options. He also offers a more advanced course if you're interested. We have Gregster and River Place Dad posting their picks. Over on the trading floor, they do their due diligence, post picks when they happen. You're welcome to join them if you're an experienced trader. You can post your picks there as well. They do a really good job of it, so you might want to visit that channel as well. There's a link to the Discord if you haven't joined it. Make sure you accept the disclaimer. If you don't, you won't see any channels. Once you accept the disclaimer, the channels will pop in. If you want to do this current setup, just head on over to current setup. If you don't know how to install shared links or scripts, head over to our how-to videos. If you run into issues after trying to learn how to do it, post a question over in support. Somebody will get to you if I can't. Never trade off my screen. My screen is sometimes delayed 15 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes. I can't control that part, even though I have it set to the fastest frame rate I can. It's still variable on the YouTube end. I appreciate you joining us this morning, and I'll be here again tomorrow. And I'll hang around a little bit here and see if something happens. I hope I've given you a little bit more information today of what you need to start learning, pay attention to. Take these words to heart. I've learned the hard way. It should help you get through there a little bit easier than I did. Don't expect to learn it overnight. It's not a fun game to play. Keep in mind it's a business. Don't throw money at what you're not experienced with. You're welcome, Snow Moon, Old Thumb, Dan, Alex, Lewis. Thank y'all very much. Look like the SPYs are really dropping now. It's going to be a bloodbath, I suppose. If you own a fishing pole, you may make dinner faster there than here. That's how I like to look at it. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Greg. Just know that I'm learning right along with y'all. Every time I say things, it refreshes my memory as well. The more you repeat it, the more you remember it. That's the saying, remember? Say their name 3 times. Well, I say the stock market 1,000 times. It's never the same. Keep training, keep teaching, keep learning. PHIO trying to make a small move here. Probably won't hold up. JC, I am not familiar with a 3H trap. I have no idea what that is. I don't train myself other people's theories. That's probably why I don't know. Not that it's not good. It may be something I need to know. But I kind of create my own rules. You want to private message me your theory on it or how it's supposed to work? I'll definitely read it. I'm definitely not a he said, she said kind of person. I don't know what they've been through. I don't know if it's true or not. I've seen the ICT stuff, which I think is ridiculous, but it may work for some people. Over in Discord, you right click on my name and click message. And if you're not familiar with Discord, you can also right-click my name and click call, and it'll call me through Discord. Just make sure you have a mic and speakers when you do that. And if I don't answer, that means I'm not available, so don't take it the wrong way. I may be sitting here, but I may be right in the middle of trying to think of a code and don't need the distraction at that moment. But I answer most of them. You are welcome. They sure are beating up on Mara. I know that. They've been beating up on this stock for 2 or 3 months now. I am. I'm not up $2 today, but I normally am. But yes, that's my name. So as a friendly reminder, don't send me support questions in a direct message. I don't have to, if I'm not in support, I don't have time for support. So don't DM me and say, how do I install this? Or I'm having issues with that. Those are all support. My time is valuable just like your time is. So if you ever wanted me to ignore you, that's probably the way to do it, is to send me a support question in a DM. Try to send out those at everybody statements. Please don't do that. But new people come and they never get that message. So I may answer you once, but I will not answer you twice. If I don't control it, that's all I'll be doing forever is DMing support questions, and I won't have time for anything. That's why everybody pitches in Discord. If I'm not there to help, other people jump in. They understand I have a lot to do, just like they do. So whoever's available, if they know the answer to your support question, they can get to you a lot faster than I can sometimes. I don't care who runs support. You can run it if you know the answer. It's not a restricted office. It's a community office that you can help out in. So let's say a year from now, there's 10,000 people in there. How would I ever have time to do anything? I wouldn't. So we all have to pitch in and help. I'm not charging. Volunteering is the way. All right, I'm going to end this live stream here. It's a dead market. The SPY's still trying to go down. There's no sense in me staring at these numbers and getting bored to death. I'm going to sit on my hands today. Tomorrow, pay closer attention. I usually make good money on Thursdays. And as a reminder, I will not be here on Friday. I'll put that message out later. So for now, appreciate you joining me this morning. And as always, God bless. Bye-bye.